Good morning, fellow followers of Christ, and of course, those who are just curious. It's been an interesting thing as I have gone through my journey of faith and have been learning about what it means to call myself a Christian. What has happened is that I have set aside many of the teachings, traditions, and ideas that have permeated my evangelical upbringing. Now, I've not abandoned all the teachings from my youth because I found many of them to be a really good starting point from which I can build from. But I'm not beholden to the doctrines, to the teachings, to the theologies of my past as I work out for myself now what it means to be a Christian. But every now and then, some of those old ways raises its ugly head, and I realize how much I have developed and moved on from all the teachings of my past. I say this because the other day I was made aware of a doctrinal statement that was making the rounds put off by some evangelicals. So I took some time, I looked it over and read it. And after reading it, I couldn't help but reflect on how different the Christianity is that I am pursuing and the Christianity that they were presenting through this doctrinal statement. And it also got me thinking about the nature of doctrinal statements and why we have them. Now, I have a degree in Bible and theology, and I'm well aware of doctrinal statements and what their purpose is and what they try to communicate. But after reading this new one, I was revolted by what it was communicating. It was unloving, unkind, ungraceful, and actually communicating what is contrary to the Holy Scriptures and the actions of Jesus Christ and the apostles. Now, through the many years of study that I have and just being a Christian, doctrinal statements should be the broadest perimeter by which the vast majority of Christians agree. And the thing is, we have that broad perimeter. In 325 at the Council of Nicaea, we agreed as Christians what that boundary is. And pretty much every Christian denomination, whether you're Greek Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox, Catholic, Protestant, we all agree on that broad perimeter. What has happened, not only today, but throughout Christian history, is that in most cases, men will twist the Holy Scriptures to push out and exclude those who they disagree with. They ignore the broad parameters of agreed upon faith to exclude holy brothers and sisters based upon nothing more than a narrow interpretation of the Scriptures. And of course, this has happened again. A small group of people have arrogantly taken it upon themselves to narrowly define what it means to be a Christian based upon nothing more than a bigoted, narrow view of the Holy Scriptures. But for me, this whole controversy has made me reflect on what I have learned about the realities of doctrine in the church, and how in many cases it really doesn't make a better Christian. Based upon growing up in an evangelical church and going to an evangelical Bible school, by stereotype, I should be on board with any and all doctrinal statements that are put out that clearly delineates what it means to be a Christian. But what I have seen in many people is that right doctrine does not necessitate their ability or their willingness to be able to perform or even pursue after the right behaviors called for by Jesus and his apostles. I have seen so many so-called men of God fail at performing the basic duties of being a Christian, even though they could tell you what those duties are. They failed to be loving, kind, compassionate, self-controlled, or a lover of the truth. And they ended up being some of the worst people you could possibly imagine. So what I've had to do in order, at least in my mind, to become a Christian is to severely limit those in my life who espouse right doctrine over right living, opting rather to read and think on the parts of the Holy Scripture that command us to live in right relationship to others, being loving, kind, compassionate, self-controlled, and lover of the truth. Doing this is slowly righting an imbalance in my faith that was ingrained in me by evangelicals' obsession with right doctrine. Unfortunately, I don't think I will ever be able to remove myself from what I learned as a child and when I was younger. But By the grace of God, I am learning what it truly means to be a Christian. My name is David Patton. I publish videos most Fridays talking about my Christian faith and my journey through it. If you like this video, do the YouTube thing and give it a thumbs up and, share it with all your friends. Last week's video about how Christians live in an alternative reality is going to be right about there. You can subscribe by clicking right about there. Have a good week, and God bless.